Hey, this is Taylor with Believe in the Run, and I'm here with a full review of the Hoka Mafate 5. I am finding out that this shoe comes with a whole lot of emotion, and I do understand why. I previously said the Salomon S Lab Pulsar 4 was the most controversial shoe of the year, but I'm gonna take that back and say that this one actually is. And again, I think I know why, because the Hoka Mafate Speed 4 that we see right here has been the shoe that really changed the landscape for the general user of Hoka. If you go to any race, any trail run, see people on the trails, there's a lot of people who are wearing this as a preferred Hoka choice over even the Speed Goat. And I think the reason is because it really has a dynamic sense of cushion, had that really nice fit, actually a little more in the toe box. It's a more accommodating shoe than ever. And it also has great grip. All those things that you really want in a higher stack, more cushioned trail shoe that can do it all. And this was a fairly light trail shoe too for how much stack it had. So I get it. This was a beloved trail shoe that's really worked into the hearts of people over the last 2+ years. We enjoyed it too. The Hoka Mafate 5 is pretty much a huge overhaul of that package, even though it just had an overhaul in its previous version. But this one comes to us with a lot of the same ideas. I'm going to say ideas, not necessarily the same materials or anything like that, but the same ideas, and it just kind of elevates those parts about the shoe to what I think many people are going to enjoy. We saw that the Hoka Mafate X just recently came out as well, and that went to not just to the max, but to the double max. That was meant to be a more smooth terrain runner, has the maximum of all maximum of nice cushion and technologies within it, whereas this one's more along those lines, but fits somewhere between the Mafate Speed 4 and the Mafate X. So let's just get into it like usual with the Mafate 5, and I'm just gonna get some juicy things out of the way. Yes, this is a much heavier trail shoe. No, it does not feel like it when it's on foot. My US men's 10.5 for this particular version is 11.9 ounces. I would dare to say that no other trail shoe at that stack, that weight, is as runnable as the Mafate 5, and let me tell you why. Well, a lot of it has to do with this underfoot recipe, which is similar to the Mafate Speed 4. There's also a lot of other max stack trail shoes that kind of have a layered system to their foams, trying to get the best out of a lot of different worlds, and I get it. It's a good recipe. It's a little tweaked here with the types of foams that they used and the way it's not a direct one-for-one layering system because there's some other things involved. If you take a look at this black layer, it runs from the heel all the way to the tip of the toe. In the heel, it's just a thick stack of this supercritical EVA. And the forefoot is just about half of the stack worth of supercritical EVA. What we know is that this is a much softer supercritical than many other trail shoes that have a supercritical EVA. EVA can go a lot of different ways. This is soft, this is plush, it's actually very cushioned, and that's one of the characteristics a lot of people liked about the Hoka Mafate Speed 4, that it actually felt cushioned. And this one really does, especially from the midfoot back. It's just an unfiltered layer of cushion and energy return. The forefoot's a little bit different because it has a couple more ingredients at play here. This blue line that you see in the midsole is a compression molded EVA, very standard. We've seen it in a lot of Hokas in the past, and they've used it in many different durometers and in different ways. Here it's just pretty much the midfoot forward, adding some stability and structure into that forefoot, which is totally needed because as I was running, anytime, especially on the downhills, if I was heel striking heavier, you could feel a little bit of instability in the heel, and it wasn't as prominent in the forefoot, like really at all. And I even went on some quite technical stuff with this shoe at speed. And if I was landing midfoot or forward, just the overall technologies took over, and I felt really confident on even technical terrain in this one. I wouldn't say technical terrain is its best application, but I could do it just fine, just like in the Hoka Mafate Speed 4. But what I also liked about this, there's something called the RIT, Rocker Integrity Technology. It's a little plate that you can see here, TPU plate in the forefoot, and it's really just meant to do exactly as it says, keep the integrity of the rocker. Over the lifetime of a lot of shoes, especially if it's high stack, softer foams, and has a rocker, not only do the foams start to degrade, but that rocker starts to flatten out more and more, and you kind of lose the sense of that shoe doubly because of that. Here, I'm really glad that they use that rocker integrity technology. Based on my 50 plus miles I put into the shoe already, there was no change in that forefoot rocker or really the energy return or stability I had. I really like that this rocker integrity technology, again, kind of acted as a stability plate all at the same time. Shoes like the Hoka Mafate X, the Brooks Catamount 4, there's a lot of other shoes, North Face Vective Endurance. They all use plates similarly for stability. Even a lot of the race day models are using plates or rods or whatever in a TPU fashion ingredient, more for stability than it is for energy return. And I really like that they use that here because it made it a much more versatile shoe than it would have been otherwise. One thing I would like to say, because of that rocker integrity technology in the forefoot, I have had some problems in the past with some plates that are closer to the surface, namely the ones found in the North Face racing lines, that I do get a little bit of rubbing in the forefoot. I do have a bunion. I do have like a moderately wide forefoot, not super wide, but I did get a little bit of pinching, a little bit of rubbing, but that was over a 3+ hour run, and it actually left no marks or anything like that. I could just feel it a little bit on one of my feet. And so if you're one who has a lot of problems with that plate rubbing too, just be a little cautious because you could get it here too. Overall, I think this ride is going to work really well on some smoother to moderate terrain because of the fact that it does have a moderately aggressive rocker. It is a max stack shoe and it just is so smooth, like buttery smooth on most terrain. It reminds me of the Challenger in that way. I feel like this Mafate 5 is kind of a merger between what was the Mafate series and the Challenger series that we've heard a little less of in the modern age, but I really like that actually. It does have an 8mm drop as opposed to a 5mm drop that it had before. And you do notice that, especially with that rocker, it's just really smooth. And I usually don't love an 8mm drop, but in this case, I really did. And so overall, the ride is just something to dream of. And the fact that it can romp on quite a bit of terrain confidently, that's gonna win over a lot of people. Even the Hoka Mafate Speed 4 runners, which I would say that shoe can handle technical terrain a little better because it is lighter and it is a little closer to the ground, but marginally compared to this. Whereas this one's gonna handle the smoother terrain much better as well. So let's move up top to this upper, and that's also a major change for this particular shoe. It's an engineered mesh, kind of a lighter, softer mesh, but it's kind of wrapped in this overlay going this way, that way, every way. Those strategic overlays are providing a sense of structure and really enhance the fit, especially through that midfoot, whereas this shoe is going to be broader, it's going to be more accommodating than the previous version or really any Hoka that I've been in. It's going to be more similar to the fit of the Hoka Mafate X if you love that. It's just going to be broader all the way throughout. Again, more accommodating. There are going to be new fans to Hoka just because of this fit. And overall, we're seeing this a lot more this year. There is more structure and padding in the heel, and there's minimal over the foot, but I was able to cinch up comfortably, even for more technical terrain if I cinched it tighter. I didn't have any rubbing over any of this actually. Going down to the bottom, I was really pleased, obviously, with this Vibram Megagrip. It maintains a 5mm lug, and it's those 5mm traction lugs too that really do make a difference. Many people have been very vocal about this outsole design. And I'm gonna say, maybe you want to quit your whining a little bit. I do agree that there are times and very few circumstances where full rubber coverage is absolutely necessary. That's very few circumstances. This is not one of those shoes that you're going to need all of that coverage, even on wet, even on dusty and dry, on steep technical terrain. I had no issues with this outsole. They really strategically put Vibram around the whole rim and through that forefoot. You don't really need all that much in the heel and midfoot. You can look at the foam as well. This is 50 plus miles in the Rocky Mountains at various paces, and there's really not much wear to speak of. This foam's not going to get taken out. There's plenty of protection up top that you're not going to feel rocks and roots poking through. So I was really pleased with how they put this rubber on. I was really pleased with the 5mm lugs, gripping on anything that I could ask it to. I was also just really pleased with that they were able to take some of this rubber out and not make this gain even more weight than it did. So overall, when you add in a couple other little things like this dynamic vamp that really stretches and works with your foot, especially if you need a wider fit or just need a little bit of movement in that forefoot, and the little ligator hooks. Those kind of things matter. When it comes down to it, y'all, I think this is an equally versatile option, maybe even more versatile when you consider the lower end of technicality of being able to run on various paces and places. I think this is a more versatile shoe than the Mafate Speed 4. Of course, once you get to that higher end of technicality, I think the Mafate Speed 4 stature is going to kind of win over some people. But overall, I think the cushion, the ride, just the overall sensation you're getting from a trail runner, this is what many people want in a max stack shoe. It's the Mafate 5. For form, I'm going to say this is a 4. It was a big, bold move by Hoka to do such a massive update to a shoe that just got a massive update not that long ago, and it has a lot of fans behind it. But why I like it is because it kept some of those same technologies. It's going to be a familiar shoe, but it's going to just offer a lot more in the sense of comfort, cushion, a ride. It might offer a little less in terms of being able to run on more technical terrain, but overall I think the build and the materials used is just fantastic for this one, Hoka. But it did lose some points because in my size 10.5, it did gain 0.9 ounces. And so gaining that much weight, there better be some good reason. And I think there is good reason here. It's just not going to win everybody over for that particular reason. For fit, I'm going to give it a 3. And the reason being is that I really do like the fit overall. I do. I think it was really special in the previous versions that you could get locked in so comfortably and feel so secure on a lot of terrain. This one, you don't feel quite as secure. It's a lighter overall fit, but it is more accommodating. I think there's going to be new Hoka fans simply because of that. But overall, I think the fit was better previously, and compared to that mostly, I'm gonna give this a 3. I liked it, I was comfortable with it, I was able to cinch up how I wanted to most of the time, but it didn't feel quite as good as the previous. And function, I'm gonna put this one, thinking of ultra racing distances, thinking of those who want cushion, those who want a true max stack shoe that's a viable option for a lot of different terrain. This one's big. I'm gonna go 5. Okay, and hear me out, hear me out. Again, this is kind of bridging into a different shoe, different category than it was before, but for what Hoka wants this to be, they really nailed it. It's going to be a shoe that can run a lot of different terrain. I even enjoyed picking up the pace in it. You can definitely go long because of the cushion and the stability mechanisms within it. And it's going to last quite a while for a trail shoe, a max stack option especially. They're doing some special things over at Hoka, and I think this is showcasing that. You know, kudos to Hoka for being bold, I hope they're listening to consumers and what they want, and I believe that that's why this shoe has kind of made such a big jump with this iteration. You're able to do a lot of different things with the shoe. Many people are going to be pleased simply because of the comfort aspect, but it can also perform on a lot of different terrain and even different paces. So overall, that's a pretty good score of 12 out of 15. Hey, Mafate 5, that's pretty solid for us here at Believe in the Run. Hey, thanks for joining in on this review of the Hoka Mafate 5. Whether you loved it or not, go over to YouTube and check out a whole lot more. We have a lot more with the Dirt Division. Megan, Thomas, Robbie, Carl are really hitting it on the road side with all their reviews. Also go to believeintherun.com where you can find all of these reviews written. Also, some more things about running culture, different pieces of gear, so much more on the website. Check out Strava, check out Instagram, and check out all of our podcasts throughout the week. See you later.